The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of HaleyMail Summer School. Todd Lewandowski, one of the marketing advisors here at Haley Marketing, and also with me is Matt Faso, our other marketing advisor. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about social media and how you can tie in your HaleyMail with your social media and vice versa. So there's a number of things we're going to talk about today, and we promise we'll keep this fairly brief. We're going to talk about the three main social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and how you can leverage your HaleyMail content within those three platforms. But first thing we want to do is talk about why. Why do we need social media? And why is it important? So Matt, why don't you tell us why we need it?
Thanks, Todd. The reason that it's so important is that it's growing so fast that it's basically ubiquitous at this point. Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter were all started sometime around the mid-2000s, and Facebook now has around 1 billion users. If it was a country, it'd be the third largest country in the world. And Americans spend more time on Facebook than any other website on the internet, about 54 billion minutes per month. And a lot of people equate social media, Facebook with social media. But remember, social media is a lot more than just Facebook. Facebook is just one platform on social media. Social media is all the different Web 2.0 and mobile technologies that are used to create interactive dialogue between users. You know, YouTube is the second largest social network. LinkedIn has over 135 million registered professionals. It has executives from all of the Fortune 500 companies as members, and 75 of the Fortune 100 companies, of the top 100 Fortune 100 companies, use it for their hiring solutions. The reason social media is so important is that the average human today is inundated with about 2,000 outbound marketing interruptions per day, and we've just gotten a lot better at figuring out creative ways to block them out. And these include things such as technology such as caller ID, spam filtering, TiVo to skip commercials when you're watching television. And since we've gotten so good at blocking outbound marketing, that's what makes inbound marketing so important, because it produces qualified leads. And that's the reason that social media is so important. It gives your clients, prospects, and candidates opportunities to participate in two-way communications with you. Again, it just brings better leads. People are interacting with you in their own terms rather than you just reaching out to them. And that's why we're talking about social media today and its importance.
Yeah, and you might notice that final bullet point here on the screen right now. It says people spend more time on blogs and social media networks than on personal email. So it may sound contradictory to be talking about email marketing right now, but that's really what makes it even more important, is to be able to stand out with your email marketing and your social media, and that's kind of how we tie the two in together here today. So the first thing we want to talk about today, or the first platform I should say, is Facebook. The one probably most people are familiar with. And we're going to do a bit of shaking our finger at the staffing industry, because really we don't do as good of a job positioning ourselves on social media as we should as an industry. If you think about social media, it should be just as important as your website, as your email marketing, as your direct mail marketing. It should have that professional brand to it. So some things, you don't want to use fuzzy logos. We see people with, believe it or not, fuzzy logos on their website, but also on their social media platforms. You can create custom profile images, and Matt's going to talk a little bit about that later, but don't limit yourself just to your logo. Facebook should also be kind of the face of your organization. We'll get into a little bit more detail about that later, but you should have pictures of your staff on your Facebook page, pictures of different events that you're taking part in, different community events. You want to start to build your following on Facebook once you've got everything in there. Again, we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. But really the most important aspect of Facebook, and really any social media, is to be constantly updating it with content, updating that wall that you're familiar with on Facebook. And really that's very simple to do. One of the reasons why we have this presentation today is that one of the most common questions Matt and I get is, okay, I get that I need a Facebook page, but what do I do with it? Well, there's a very simple starting point there. Everybody on this call is a HaleyMail client, which means you have some form of a monthly newsletter and some form of a client and candidate resource center. This is all content that is available for you. You've purchased HaleyMail, but you've also purchased all of this content. So you can feel free to use this in any ways you see fit, whether it's on your blog, your Facebook, your Twitter, or LinkedIn. So the next common question we get is, well, how? Well, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to your monthly article. When Matt or I send you your preview of the month for your newsletter, click on your article, click on the Resource Center. All you have to do is grab the link and post it into your Facebook page. I mean, it's really that simple. I wish we could make it simpler, but that is really about as simple as it gets. Just copy the link, paste it into your Facebook page. Now, you may want to also do some other things with it as well. You may want to put a description on there that says something like, we just posted this great article to our website on improving productivity in the summer months. What are some of your company's tactics for increasing productivity over the summer months? You want to get people involved. You want to get them interacting with you on these social media sites. So don't just simply post up an article. Make it a conversation. And we're going to get a little bit more into this, especially on the LinkedIn side, about how you can create these conversations through your Facebook content, or your social media content, really. Matt, what are some other ideas for updating your Facebook wall?
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, so Todd talks about the ways to use HaleyMail, with Facebook, but there's a lot of other things you can do. And the key here, not all the answers are going to be right here, but the key here is just, nurturing your relationships and being interactive and posting content that's interesting to people. Post jobs. You just want to make sure that you don't overdo it. Posting too many jobs and inundating people's feeds with your jobs is going to turn them off. But if you're posting a couple a day, that's probably great. Share photos, stuff that if you do team building events around the office, if somebody in the office does something fun, put photos up. Trivia is always good and gets a really good response. It's great to highlight employees of the month, especially if you're a staffing firm. You can highlight the employees that you've got out at your clients, highlighting some of your best employees. You can post quotes. We've always seen good response to that. And do Q&As with your clients. And again, see last slide. Take a look and use all the content that you have available from your HaleyMail. That's really good stuff that you can use for Facebook. And again, the key here is really just making sure that you're being active on Facebook. It looks really bad if there hasn't been an update to your page for a few days. Just make sure that you're active. We'll talk about some ways that you can make sure to stay active, and some tools, actually technology tools that you can use to stay active on your social media sites. Todd, if you could go to the next slide.
Yeah, I just want to interject one more thing there too, Matt. If you'd like an example of how to do really all of this stuff, best example we have is our own Haley Marketing Facebook page. If you haven't liked us yet, if you haven't added us as a friend yet, please do. Jennifer Jordan, who handles our Facebook page, does a great job of keeping it updated with, like Matt said, fun stuff. We just put up a fish tank in our office, and we have some pictures of it up there. Every time we hire a new employee, we put a little blurb about that employee on there. So that's really one of the best examples that we have of how to really successfully build a Facebook page.
It's a good point, Todd. And I also wanted to mention, it doesn't have to be work all the time. Facebook, all these social media, especially Facebook, are meant to be fun. So do things that are going to engage people and keep their interest. And the other thing you want to make sure you do is build a following on Facebook. You can have all this content, be doing all this stuff, but if nobody's seeing it, it doesn't really matter. So you want to make sure to add like buttons, to your email signature and to your website. Make sure people are aware of it in the interview process. You can advertise on Facebook. This is a big one. I don't think that when Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook, he intended on creating one of the largest online consumer databases. That's exactly what he does. And that's very powerful, because what it allows you to do is do very targeted marketing. We've done some very successful pay-per-click campaigns on Facebook. And again, the reason that that's so great is because you only pay for the clicks that you get. You can be very, very targeted in who you market to. You can market to people at specific companies. It's very user-friendly. You can use email marketing. You want to make sure to email out to your list when you're doing contests. We have seen clients who've had really great success with contests. I think it might have actually been Todd's client. We had a client that got almost 1,000 likes in 1 month in 1 week when they did a contest where they gave away an iPad for everybody who everybody who liked them was entered in the contest to win an iPad. You also want to create custom pages. Now, Facebook, you're not allowed to have a splash page come up when anybody goes to your timeline anymore. But what you can do is still have custom pages. We've got clients who, rather than have their jobs feed to their home page, because again, that can be a little bit much when you're feeding too many jobs to your home page, you can put a custom jobs tab in Facebook, and that way, all of your jobs will be accessible to everybody who accesses your Facebook page. So you can create custom pages as well. And if you go to the next slide, Todd, you should have a good timeline image. All companies were required to go to timeline images a few months ago. This is an image that we created for one of our clients. And if you don't have a good-looking timeline image right now, you can contact Todd or I after the call. We'll be happy to tell you the dimensions of the photos that you want to put up there. And again, it's just about representing your company in a good way. You can see this is very clean, sharp image. You just want to make sure that you've got something good up there, and it's not too hard. And next, we're going to talk about Twitter. A lot of people ask if Twitter has a place in business, and it really does, especially if it's used properly. Twitter is an online social networking service, really a micro-blogging service that enables its users to send and read text-based posts up to 140 characters known as tweets. And the important thing about Twitter is it allows users to follow each other. We want to go over some really quick guidelines for Twitter. You want to make sure to follow interesting people and engage in conversations. You can always retweet good information and connect with thought leaders in your industry or area. That's one of the most important things about Twitter, is that it gives you unparalleled access to people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to start conversations with. Personally, I've started conversations with people with hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter just by mentioning them in a tweet. And in that vein, you want to keep an eye on other companies in your marketplace. You want to keep an eye on your competitors, see who they're following, see who's following them. And again, share interesting content that you've found. You can also use Twitter's search tools to generate leads. We have found that Twitter actually has one of the longest lags between when jobs are posted and when they're applied for, and that's because people aren't waiting to see jobs come up on their feed, just randomly. They're searching for jobs, and sometimes job posts are averaging about 10 days lag time between when they're posted on Twitter and when they're actually being applied for. And again, that's because people are taking advantage of the advanced search capabilities on Twitter.
Great, thanks, Matt. We talked about this earlier with Facebook, but we just wanted to reiterate it through Twitter. We talked about the branding, how important the branding is. Twitter allows you to develop a custom background, just like Facebook allows you to put a custom profile image or banner image up there. Twitter does the same thing. So instead of having that standard Twitter-issued blue sky background with clouds, you can add some nice graphic elements here, and you can see our Twitter feed. Bayside Solutions, one of our clients, their Twitter feed really allows you to do a very nice branding to your Twitter page. So if you haven't done that already, definitely something that you're going to want to do, and it's something that we can help you set up as well if you're interested. Okay, so how do we use Twitter? Well, basically kind of use it the same way that we use Facebook. And I'm going to, again, just keep saying how simple this really is, but it is, and you can't make it any simpler. Same concept with what we did with Facebook, taking the links from your monthly newsletter or from the staffing and candidate resource centers and posting them into Twitter. It's the same way. You'll just copy the link from your newsletter article or SRC, CRC article and post it as a tweet. Twitter now has a function where it will shorten up the link, so don't worry if the link is really long and going to use about 140 of your characters. They'll shorten it up for you. But again, you want to put then right before the link, you want to put some sort of interaction there so that helps people interact with it. So again, we just posted this great article on improving productivity over the summer months. Take a look. You are limited with the characters in Twitter, so you need to be a little creative with how you post things, but it's the same exact concept. Copy the link, paste it in, get it up on Twitter. And Matt, I think you want to talk a little bit more about hashtag, something that you mentioned earlier.
Yep, hashtag is a way for people to search for tweets around a central topic. Oftentimes, if you go to a meeting or a conference, they'll create a hashtag. I think last year at ASA it was hashtag ASA 2012 or 2011. That just allows anytime there's a tweet, you can click on the hashtag topic, and it takes you to all the tweets about that topic. And again, it's just a form of Twitter syntax that allows things to be organized easier, and it creates those topics so they're much easier to be searched by. I think the most famous hashtag was probably the hashtag winning that Charlie Sheen did when he was blowing up on Twitter a few years ago. But again, this can be used for a lot of different business applications. You can see the example screenshot we've got up here. We've got Dallas jobs. And again, anytime you were to tweet hashtag Dallas or hashtag jobs, when somebody gets that tweet and they click on that hashtag, they'll be taken to all the tweets containing that topic. The one thing you do want to make sure is that your tweets are readable. So try not to use too many at mentions, and an at mention is when you are mentioning another Twitter user or hashtags, so that your tweet gets too hard to read.
Yeah, you really want to think about hashtags. Similar if you're somebody who's familiar with doing blog posts. At the end of every blog post for our clients, we'll add in keywords. So you really want to think of it as somebody would be searching on Google. So if somebody's going into Google, they're probably typing in Dallas jobs or jobs in Dallas. You want to have that same mindset when you're coming up with hashtags, especially for when you're posting jobs. So Dallas jobs or accounting jobs Dallas. Just think of it exactly as you would use a search engine, how people would be typing into a search engine. Okay. The next one we want to talk about is LinkedIn. And people always ask, well, what should my audience focus be for all these social media platforms? We usually say with Facebook, you want to make it a little more candidate focused. Twitter, really both client and candidate. LinkedIn, you're going to see more of a prospective client focus. 160 million professional members are on LinkedIn right now. And as of the end of March of this year, LinkedIn is the largest professional network on the internet. Professionals are signing up for LinkedIn at a rate of approximately 2 new members per second. And with LinkedIn supposedly going public, we are going to see some very interesting changes, I think, coming in the near future. So that's the why you need to be on LinkedIn. Matt, let's talk a little bit about the what to do once you're on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Your profile is very important because this is how you're going to be interacting with people. So real quick, you're taking a look at a screenshot of my profile. When you go to your profile, up in the upper right-hand corner there, you'll see how complete it is. You want to make sure that it's 100% complete. If it's not, it's going to be very easy. They'll tell you what you need to do to have a 100% complete profile. Make sure that that's done first. Also, when you're writing up the information for your profile, make sure that you're using keywords because your profile is indexed by Google, so it's going to come up in Google searches. Make sure you're using keywords for search terms. And again, kind of what we've been talking about for this entire webinar is make sure to update your status frequently. That will make sure that you're showing up in people's updates. They'll get update emails. When they go to their home page, they'll see when you've updated your status. It's going to keep you active and keep you in front of people. And especially in staffing, if you don't have more than 500 connections, you're probably not trying hard enough because probably everybody in this call has got lots of people that they come into contact with every day. So you should have a lot of connections. The more you grow your network, the more powerful that LinkedIn will be for you. And lastly, you want to make sure you integrate everything you do online. You see here I've got a link to our blog and company website. Again, as Todd kind of mentioned in the beginning of this call, you don't do none of this is done in a vacuum. So when you send your emails out, you're mentioning your social media pages, trying to get people to like you on Facebook. Again, LinkedIn is you'll have link to your blog and your company website. So this is all kind of part of your full marketing process. None of it is done on its own.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. And got a good segue there to talk about building connections. Next common question we get from people is, okay, we've got the sites up, we've got the content in there, now how do we get people to it? LinkedIn is one of the most useful social media tools in terms of building your network. First thing you want to do is import your email database. So if you're using Outlook, import it very simply through LinkedIn and send invites to everybody on your email list to connect with you on LinkedIn. And we talked about, right now we're talking about just individual pages, and we're going to talk a little bit about company pages in a bit. But you want to basically have the same concept for both building your company page and building your personal page. Second thing you want to do is the People You May Know tab. This is why LinkedIn makes it so easy. Once you begin to build your network and you're adding people into your network and you've added in the different positions that you have and the different industries that you've worked in, the different companies you've worked for, LinkedIn will take all that information and suggest people you may know. So you can just simply click on that tab, and they'll come up with literally hundreds and hundreds of people that you may know. And the bigger your network gets, the bigger that list is going to get of people you may know. So you can start to add those people to your network. Next, you also want to send invite to group members. We're going to talk a little bit more detail about groups, but there are tons and tons of groups within LinkedIn. For example, we suggest to our clients to go in and, based on the type of industry that you service, you want to join those groups. So, for example, we may be in a Buffalo marketing group. You may be in a Chicago accounting professionals group. Join as many groups that match your geographic and your industry locations.
And
once you're in those groups,
sorry, Todd. There's usually an HR group for pretty much every city as well, which are good to connect with in this industry, obviously.
Yep. You want to send invites to all those group members to connect with you on LinkedIn as well. And then, just as you would with your email content, your personal email contact list, every time you have a meeting with someone or a call with someone, find that person on LinkedIn and connect with them. It's just another touch point after your initial meeting with somebody. Matt, you want to show us, once you've got your profile set up and you got your network built, and then what?
And again, you just want to make sure to update your status. You can do this manually, and there's things that Todd talked about. One of the things you can do would be to take your the article from your newsletter for the month, or a really interesting article out of your staffing resource center, and you can post it to your status in LinkedIn just as you would in Facebook. And you want to make, and again, all this does is it makes sure that you pop up on people's updates. They'll see in their update email, and it keeps you in front of people. Another thing that you can do is comment and like on other people's statuses. So similar to the way that you'd interact in groups, you're just going to want to make sure to update your status and also kind of stay linked in with people by commenting on their statuses as well. And actually, we're going to talk about groups next. LinkedIn groups can be very powerful. You want to make sure to join groups in your industry and geographic region, as Todd mentioned. Answering questions and posting discussions really positions you as a thought leader in your industry. You just want to make sure to be active, participate in conversations. You can post questions to a group, answer questions in a group, and again, you can use your HaleyMail content to start conversations in groups as well. Being a member of a group is a great way to get visibility in your market and connect with other members of that group. In fact, just being in the same group with someone is a very powerful way to make an introduction and really increases the likelihood that they'll accept your invitation to connect. So if there's somebody on LinkedIn that you'd like to connect with, see what groups they're members of and join those groups, and there's a much better likelihood that when you send them a request that they'll accept your invitation.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. One real quick additional thing about groups. Many groups will have a jobs tab like the one you see here. So don't be afraid, once you're members of these groups, to start posting those jobs. Most groups will allow you to post them for free. This is a really great lead generation source. You want to make sure, not all groups are going to have it, but many of them will, especially any type of networking group. So make sure that you check out all the different groups you're in to see if there is that jobs tab available. All right, so we talked a little bit about the individual pages, and I promise we talk more about the company pages. Company pages are a little bit different. LinkedIn is really going to automatically create a company page for you. So even if you haven't set up a page, there's probably one already set up for your company in there. So you want to go in, first thing you want to do is make sure that the description is accurate. This is all, once you're set up as an admin, this is all stuff that you can control within there. It's just like a Facebook page, just like a Twitter page. You can control all of the content that's in there. So again, you want to make sure you use those SEO, search engine optimization friendly words. Make sure you get the word temporary staffing in there. If you're executive recruiting, the geographic location you're in there. Really treat it just like you would keywords in a blog post or on a website. And then you want to encourage people to follow your company. Just like we talked about building your network through for your individual pages, your personal pages, same concepts apply here to your company page. And again, just like you would update your personal status, LinkedIn now allows you to update your company status. This isn't something that they had previously, but it's kind of a new function. So treat it just like you would your Facebook, your Twitter pages. You can now update your status update on your company page as well. And Matt, I think you want to go a little more in depth here on the company pages.
Yep, a lot of the features of a company page are now like actually an individual's page. People can recommend your company now instead of just individual recruiters. This is important because we oftentimes, especially at conferences when we're talking about social media, we hear people that are worried that their recruiter is going to make contacts on LinkedIn and they're going to leave and they're not going to have any interaction with these companies anymore. If you get people to like your company as well as your individual recruiters, you'll still have that contact if the recruiter were to ever leave your company. Here in this example, you can see you can use the spotlight to highlight promotions or new services. This is actually the promotion that I was talking about earlier. They integrated that the Facebook promotion to get more likes. They also integrated that on LinkedIn. You see they highlighted it here. It's a really great way to highlight something like that. And you can also share more detail about your company. You can have different tabs for different divisions and services that link back to your website and provide more information. But you can basically make your company LinkedIn page, almost like a mini website for your company. And again, it's probably a little bit more easier to update than your actual website. So if you do have promotions and things going on, you can highlight them on that page.
Great, thanks, Matt. So when we're talking with our clients, after we get the questions about why do I need to be on social media, how do I get on social media, what do I put on my social media, the inevitable statement or question is, yeah, but I don't have the time. And really, I'm going to say that's a cop-out because really it is very simple. And I think Matt's going to share with us just how simple it can be.
Yeah, and if you're like us, at Haley Marketing Group, we've got social media responsibilities. And if you're like us, you get to your desk at the beginning of the day and you probably have more than 8 hours of work and you're really busy. So there are things that you can do to make it easier on yourself. One of the things we haven't talked about yet on this call, but you can automate a lot of this stuff. For example, if you have a blog, you can have your blog RSS feed set to feed out to your different social media pages. So every time you post a blog, you'll actually be posting it to the blog, your Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And that's a way where instead of you're duplicating your efforts, you do something once and it's being posted 4 times, for example. You also can spread the responsibility out just so that it's not you don't have one person who's in charge of all this stuff. Now the important thing is, again, like I said, we're all very busy, and what we hear from our clients, even from ourselves, is a lot of times, in quotes, the real work gets in the way of doing this kind of stuff. So you have to make sure that that it's a priority for your company, and you've got to make sure that people are held accountable. So they should have specific goals and things that they have to do in different social media sites, and then make sure that they're held accountable to it. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You can have your people spending 10 to 15 minutes a day on social media and get a lot out of it. So again, the biggest things here are, make sure to take advantage of technology. You can use the RSS feeds to automate this stuff, and just make sure to make sure that people are accountable to do this stuff, so that it's not just kind of a we'd like you to do stuff on LinkedIn. I know for our sales reps, they're required to spend a certain amount of time on LinkedIn every day.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So just really quickly to recap what we talked about today, and if there's one takeaway that we'd like you to have, it is really just how simple it is to use your HaleyMail content on your social media platforms. Like we talked about, simple, copy the link, paste it onto Facebook, copy the link, paste it into LinkedIn, copy the link, paste it into Twitter. It really shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes every month to start leveraging that content across all these social media platforms. So we expect every company that's on this call to take 10 minutes after they get off and take their last newsletter content and post it up on your social media pages and start making that a regular monthly process for you. So if there's, I know we kind of ripped through things kind of quickly here, but as always, Matt and I are always here to answer any additional questions you guys have, so please don't hesitate to contact myself or Matt, and we can talk about things in a little bit more detail. Hope you guys got some good information out of today's presentation, and we will have another one of these coming up in August, and we will have the information on that coming up in the next couple weeks. So thank you again for everybody for attending, and we will talk to you soon.